Hello and welcome to my studio tour. So I just thought I would set this up for you and have a tour of my studio. This is where my supplies are for doing my paper dyeing and my broom and dustpan. And this is the entrance to my studio. It's actually a living room down in a duplex. So I have the entire living room space. So as you can see, I have my iron and ironing board, my Sensi that I'm have to smell good things as I'm creating. It's just a bunch of supplies in the corner there. And more supplies. And this shelf here is of my watercolor paper, my punch cradle, my scrap paper I use for when I glue things into my signatures, my images. And then underneath that is my scrapbooking books or paper. And then below that are all of my books that I use, my hardcover books that I transfer into altered books, all of my supplies and my magazines that I use for images for my signatures. And there's more books that I have. This dresser here is just full of just supplies. But what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put some wheels on the bottom and turn it into a ironing board that I can move around my studio. So that's just full of all kinds of stuff to store away. That's my oil paints and my brushes for my oil paints. This one I couldn't get open, but that's okay because there's nothing really in there. Okay, and I have two dressers that I've painted, and this is one of them. So this is a mixed media piece on the wall and all my goodies. And this dresser I did a few years ago, and I took it and I repainted the entire thing and put new knobs on it. There's one of my journals right there. It's a Halloween journal. There's my paint swatches that I go to Home Depot whenever I do. I always take a few with me. So paint swatches for my signatures when I create them. And a little kind of thing that I made to put all my goodies. This is just junk that I have in there. But I put all my supplies in my drawers because I just don't have the room to just have shelves and shelves. So I have 3 dressers. Here's another book that I've done. And some flowers, of course, brighten up the space, my brushes. This is my Biopoem fabric journal. This one you might recognize. This is the Faith Chronicles journal that I did, my tutorials. You can go in and see that. These are elastics. I tried to open it, but I couldn't open it. So they're just a jar full of elastics. Okay, and then this is just a pine dresser that somebody gave me. And this is all my cutouts and papers and goodies that I have that I put into my journals. And there's about 4 drawers of them. So I just kind of keep everything and different papers. This is my patterns that I've made for my applique. And then just other things that I just store, my gloves. So I have a little kind of shelf here, a little display with my buttons, all color-coded, of course. Little things that I've gotten. Those little books to the left are books that the older ones are what my grandmother used to have. This is the second dresser that I've made. And so I painted it all. This is all through my lace and ribbons, the top drawer. This is more of my art journaling supplies. These are my stamps and my stamp pads. Some more things that I couldn't fit in my lace and ribbons. There's my embroidery thread. And here's more brushes and my heat gun and hot glue. The pool noodles I use for my quilting. Some other things that I have on display that I like. And so this is a really handy thing. The bottom are all my scrap fabric that I use for my applique design. And I have them color coded. So just a whole bunch of scraps that I keep. try to use them up in different projects. And then these are more scrapbooking paper that I use, and different kinds of papers. Here's my washi tape. It's kind of a mess, but there it is. This little kind of cabinet, I have more books at the bottom. I keep my fat quarters, some of my fat quarters, in the drawer, as you can see. And here's more of my books and magazines and my references, my portfolio from when I was 10 years old. And more fabric, of course. There's my Inspire and my Wilson ball that some good friends made me. My bead charm, a painting that my grade 5 class made for me. These are baby quilts that I've sandwiched together, but I still have to quilt them, and I haven't gotten around to that. This is an antique trunk that a good friend of mine gave me, and I just keep more fabric and my quilt batting and all kinds of different things in there. So that's my bin for supplies. I have my sewing machine table, different, the cutting mat I just leave out because I'm always using it. And then there's my nerve center, so my computer. So this mouse pad is actually mine, the creation. I created that in 2011, and I did a big mouse pad. There's a place online that I did that they did that for me. Here's a printable book that I just created that was published, Freedom from Unquenchable Doubt for Mental Health. So you can also, I'll leave a link and you can order that online. It's like a mental health journal or reflection journal. And the lights are for when I record, so I get a lot of light. There's my pen holders. They're just jars that I have magnets to, because that green board is all magnetized. It's tin. So I just put magnets up. This is my serger, and I don't use it very often, so I just kind of have it out. There's my acrylic paint and different things. My printer, my tower, and my sign, Break the Rules of Creativity, which I completely believe in and I love. So in a nutshell, there is my studio. So hope you enjoyed this and that you come back for the next video.